The change has officially happened within the NFL. The NFL officially moved from a 16-game season to a 17-game season. And that could change history a ton. Just not this season, but in the future. So in today's video, we're gonna cover 5 records that could potentially be broken now that the NFL has expanded from that 16-game season into now a 17-game season. But before I get into those records, make sure you guys leave this video a like. That's the only way to help this channel to grow. And another way to help this channel to grow is to click that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you will not miss any of the football videos that I post. Let's get into these records. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Number 5 on this list is the most points scored by a team in a single season, which is 606 by the 2013 Broncos. Now, in a 17-game season, we all know that the league has changed its rules a ton to be offensive heavy. That Broncos offense in 2013 was absolutely tremendous, led by Peyton Manning and his record-setting season. But when you move from a 16-game to a 17-game season, that changes a lot. That could be one extra game that the team maybe doesn't rest its players, because if you have an offense like that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be within like 11-5 to somewhere close to 13-3, 14-2 range in a 16-game season. But now you expand it to 17 games, and that team maybe has one extra game that they're playing all their starters, one extra game where they still have maybe home field advantage on the line, and also you add that you have 7 playoff teams now, so that number 1 seed becomes even more important. You can see a team maybe like Kansas City, a team with a potent offense, maybe like Tampa Bay. You could see either one of those teams potentially breaking that record of 606 total points scored in a season. Coming in at number 4, we go back to that 2013 Broncos offense and 55 passing touchdowns from Peyton Manning. 55 passing touchdowns does seem like a lot, but when you add that 17th game, and also when you add the fact that there's a 7th playoff team and there are only 1 bye available for each conference, if an offense feels that he needs to turn it up in order to really get that spot, you can really see a quarterback go off, maybe a Patrick Mahomes, maybe a guy like Russell Wilson, like a Prescott that can really turn up in the passing game and approach that 55 touchdown record. 50 touchdowns seem unmanageable with 60 game season, but you add that 17th game with quarterbacks in these days getting at least 4 to 5 touchdowns in games, you can see a 55 touchdown mark be broken, especially in a pass-happy league that we have now with all of the rule changes, the way offenses are called, and the spread systems that the league has really been accustomed to get more wide receivers open. 55 touchdowns in a single season is one of those records that can really fall if a team needs that 17th game, if a team needs to get that extra game in and they have one of those fire potent offenses. 55 touchdowns can be broken. Coming in at 3 is receiving yards by Calvin Johnson, 1964, broken in 2012. In this era, you can have a receiver that gets absolutely hot, especially with a potent offense that we explained before. And you have in an era now where there's not really a lot of shutdown corners. Coaches call a lot of routes for receivers to get easy yardage, receivers to get open. So you can see an elite receiver like a Devontae Adams, elite receiver maybe like a Tyreek Hill, maybe an elite receiver maybe like a Justin Jefferson can really approach that 1964 record. A 2,000-yard receiver in a 17-game season might just happen, especially with the offenses being so potent in this day and age, and offenses that are so pass happy in this day and age, with the running backs not necessarily existing like we did back in the early 90s, early 2000s, guys like Emmitt Smith, Eddie George, that were really taking over the league at the running back position. You really don't have that in this league. You have more receivers that are getting paid that top dollar, more receivers that are at that top echelon in the league, that you can really see a guy exploding and getting close to that 2,000-yard mark and definitely breaking that 1964-yard mark set by Calvin Johnson back in 2012. At number 2, we have 22.5 sacks by Michael Strahan, broken in 2001. We have come close to that record being broken with 22 by Aldon Smith, Justin Houston, and Jared Allen over the past 20 years. And with this 17-game season and the league being so predicated on getting those edge rushers, guys maybe like a J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald definitely can do it up the middle. Khalil Mack is one of those guys that can really get to the quarterback off the edge. Myles Garrett, Joey Bosa. So you have a ton of guys that are really good pass rushers, especially in the league today that is predicated on the quarterback throwing the football instead of running the ball like it was in years past. You have, I think, more edge rush type guys that can go out there and get maybe 2-3 sacks a game versus a guy like Michael Strahan did it in an era where the running back was still prevalent more and the fullback was still prevalent more in NFL offenses. So you look in today's era with the pass-happy league, you look at today's era that has a ton of pass rushers that are very good or at that elite level where they can take over games just by themselves. I really feel that a 22.5 sack record, even though that was one of the greatest records I feel in NFL history to accomplish back in 2001, you move on now to 2021 and 17 games and the pass-happy offenses. I think one of those guys that I aforementioned can really be a guy that can break a record of that 22.5 sacks that Michael Strahan set back in 2001. The number one record that could be broken is Peyton Manning's 5,477-yard season back in 2013. Not to mention that Peyton Manning only broke that record by one single yard over Drew Brees' season back in 2011. And you mentioned the pass-happy offenses. You mentioned the spread offenses. You mentioned offenses pushing the ball down the field more in today's league than we have in years past. You mentioned quarterbacks in today's era that are a whole lot more talented in the league that is pass-happy versus we had back in the early 80s, 90s type of offenses. And then you mentioned guys like Patrick Mahomes, who's had 5,000-yard seasons. Drew Brees has had 5 5,000-yard seasons alone. So 5,000 yards isn't out of the question. Then you add that single game, and then you add the fact that you don't have the 6 playoff teams anymore. You have 7 now, and only one of those teams in each conference gets a bye. I can really see that record being the one that could be easily broken, especially in today's style of football. These quarterbacks are absolutely amazing. These quarterbacks now in today's league are doing things that we've never seen before in eras before. These quarterbacks in today's leagues are ultra talented. And then when you talk on the records that has been set over offenses, even just in the last 10 to 15 years alone, 5,477 yards in a 17-game season could seem like very little with the way the NFL is transitioning now towards so much of the pass-happy offenses and so much of the spread offenses that they're kind of getting from colleges. And you also get a lot of teams that run no huddle. So you're having a lot of offensive plays in an offensive league, in a passing league. 5,477 yards can be broken more than one time, in my opinion. But that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys leave this video a like. That only helps the channel to grow. Are there any other records that you guys think could be broken now that the NFL has transitioned towards a 17-game season? If you have a record that could be broken, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to continue this conversation going forward. And also, if you have gotten to this point in the video, make sure you click that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will not miss a single video. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe out there. Have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in another video. Peace.